My name is That Guy, this is the 28th, and thank you for listening to Aim for the Top, an Otaku's weekly sports review, where we're bringing together anime fans and sports fans in ways you never thought imaginable but now can't do without. If you've listened to us before, thanks for coming back. If this is your first time, well, get comfortable, get your favorite Dakimakura, and we're going to talk a bunch of sports with a little bit of anime-related fun. So this is an emergency episode of the podcast because of Super Bowl 55. Yes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in what many expected to be a very high-scoring Super Bowl. I think the over-under was 48.5. And man, if you bet the under, well, it was your lucky day, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the seemingly unbeatable. I mean, they did get beat twice, although one of those didn't count. And the Raiders kind of got lucky in the game that they beat the Chiefs this year, but still, they were looking unbeatable, folks. Tampa did the seemingly impossible, and that they made Patrick Mahomes look very human. Let's just get right into the analysis. We'll talk about the silly stuff, the commercials, the halftime performances, musical acts, and such. We can talk about that afterwards. The fluff, the filler. Let's just get to the game. Started off kind of a bit slow, some punts, some 3-and-outs by the Buccaneers. Kansas City not able to move the ball as effectively against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they were against other opponents in the playoffs, and definitely the first half of their game against Tampa Bay in the regular season, that Kansas City won 27-24. But yeah, it was definitely maybe not the opening that everyone expected. I guess you could say there were some uncharacteristic mistakes, especially in that first half, that the Kansas City Chiefs made that kind of determined the outcome of the game. First one was on their second drive. They'd gotten all the way to Tampa Bay's 31. It was 3rd and 11, and Mahomes obviously goes back to pass. He throws one to Tyreek Hill. He throws a long ball to Tyreek Hill that it looked like Tyreek Hill could have come down with. It would have been a tough catch for him to make, just because there was a Bucs defender, and I don't know if that was Winfield or their other safety, whose name escapes me at the moment, but he got his hand up just right in the moment before the ball ended up hitting Tyreek Hill in the face. And I think it was because his hand, got right in the line of direction of Tyreek Hill's sight, so he probably couldn't see the ball for that split second that he needed to when it was up in the air and then going into his hand, so it bounced off his helmet. Kind of looked funny. So it fell incomplete, and that would have been a touchdown, and that would have been a nice play for Kansas City to go up 7-0 early in the Super Bowl. But instead, the pass is incomplete, and they have to kick a long field goal, so they were up 3-0. But then the Bucs, when they got the ball, they really took advantage of their offensive line versus the Kansas City defensive front, which, had played pretty good, obviously, during the regular season. But against Tampa Bay this time, they really weren't able to generate much pressure against Brady. I believe they had one sack, and that was either I think it was the second drive that Tampa Bay had on offense. They were able to get a sack on Brady, but other than that, they really didn't get much pressure, and especially on that drive, it was very clear that they were going to be struggling the rest of the day, as Tampa Bay was easily able to move the ball. They used a lot of play action, which Brady had been very effective at during the regular season. And in fact, on the two, I guess you would say, the critical plays on that second drive, the little kind of screen pass to Cameron Brate that went about 20 yards, and on the Gronkowski touchdown on that drive. Those plays were both set up by play action. And it was definitely an indication of things to come for Kansas City, as Tampa Bay went up 7-3 at that point. Then on the next Kansas City drive, on 3rd down, Mahomes threw a Perfect pass to Travis Kelce, who uncharacteristically dropped the ball. And that would kind of summarize the performance that Kansas City had, as the players that they most needed to step up for various reasons, some not in their control, particularly Patrick Mahomes running for his life all game due to his offensive line having to start lots of backups at both tackles. Yeah, it was just the performances we were used to seeing did not exactly hold up in that game. And on that third down, Kelce drops the ball. It would have been a first down. Would have kept the sticks moving, as they say. But Kansas City again, they had to punt the ball. And on this drive, it was actually an interesting drive. Tampa Bay, they got the ball in good field position. They went down the field. A lot of running by Ronald Jones. They were mixing it up with Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, who we will get into a little bit later. Definitely had another turn back the clock kind of game. Anyway, so on this drive, Tampa Bay, they got to the red zone inside the 10, stuffed on third and goal, and then on fourth and goal, they decide to run it again with Ronald Jones, and he does not make it. I don't know, there's something about his running style. Like, he's too upright, I feel like. Makes him a bigger target for defensive players to go after, and I don't know, I think he might be a little more effective if he'd run a little lower to the ground, something like that. But anyways, he does not make it, but they were inside the 1 yard line, so you're backing up Tampa Bay. So generally in those kind of situations, it's definitely in the offense's advantage to go ahead and go for it on fourth down, because the chances are very unlikely that the opposing team is going to be able to get the ball down the field, just say 65 yards, just to give themselves a chance at a field goal, to say nothing of having to drive 99 yards to get a touchdown. So the chances are pretty good that you're going to get the ball back in pretty good field position, even if you give up a couple first downs. So it's definitely in your advantage to go ahead and go for the touchdown, as it's kind of, especially in the first quarter, since you have so much time, to make up if you don't get any points on that play. There's plenty of time to make up for those missed opportunities, but definitely in the first quarter, you should always be going for touchdowns. If you're inside your opponent's 10, just don't even think about field goals. There's nothing more deflating, I'm sure, for a team than to get inside the 10-yard line and then you got to kick a field goal. Anyways, Tampa gets the ball back, good field position. They go down, get another touchdown. This time a touchdown pass by Brady to Antonio Brown. Be very controversial, I suppose, at one point. Although, to be honest, I haven't really followed his legal situation. I mean, I know that it hasn't been all resolved, all that, so there still might be, I guess, punishments looming, either by the law or by the NFL if they found that he violated the personal conduct policy. But for the time being, he's been a good contributor for Tampa Bay, and he showed that in this game with that touchdown pass that put him up 14-3. So on Kansas City's last drive of the first half, they actually had a good drive going. Mahomes throughout the first half, he was able to use his feet a lot to get outside of the pocket when he was getting a lot of pressure, because it felt like just about every time he went back to pass that he was getting pressure from the front four of Tampa Bay's defense. Because the thing is, usually Todd Bowles like to use a lot of blitzes to get pressure, but for this game he did not. I think I read, he only blitzed 4 times throughout the entire game, and Mahomes threw 49 passes. So Todd Bowles really dialed it back on the blitzing. They had a lot of guys in coverage. They let their front four do their work against the backup offensive line by the Kansas City Chiefs, and they dominated. Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul, Vita Vea, you can throw him in there All those guys did their job getting pressure. But in the first half, Mahomes was able to get outside the pocket when he was pressured. He was able to run. He was able to pick up some first downs. I think he had something like 30 yards rushing at the end of the first half. I'm pretty sure he was their leading rusher at the end of the first half. But anyways, on this particular drive, he was able to do that. They were able to get the ball down the field. Their offense looked like it was starting to click a little bit. But on third down on that drive, when the Kansas City was on the Tampa Bay 14, it was 3rd and 6. It was then that Todd Bowles unleashed the blitz. They got to Mahomes, forced an incomplete pass, and the Kansas City Chiefs were forced to settle for another field goal. And to be honest, I kind of felt like I actually felt like Kansas City should have gone for it right there, but given Andy Reid's track history and Mahomes' brilliance throughout the season, but obviously that's a different scenario. I mean, it's one thing to be great when you're playing against the Raiders or the Broncos or other bad teams that Kansas City played this year, but when you're going up against a defense that has proved throughout the first half that they are more than capable of getting pressure on your QB, they're more than capable of dominating your offensive line, then I can understand, being a little more risk averse and going for the field goal right there. So they kick the field goal. It's 14-6. Tampa Bay does get the ball back with some time on the clock to maybe get a field goal if they're lucky. But this was the drive, I think, that had a lot of people up in arms, maybe, on the Kansas City side with all the penalties. This is definitely the penalty drive that got everyone nuts. So I guess we can just kind of look at each of those penalties. The first one, it was called on Bashaud Breeland on Mike Evans for pass interference. It ended up being about a 30-yard penalty, so it was a pretty big play, and I've always been consistent in saying that I don't think pass interference should ever be a spot foul. It should just be a 15-yard penalty. You shouldn't get rewarded for a play that you didn't make. It doesn't make sense to reward a team for a counterfactual. The ball was not caught. We don't know if it would have gotten caught. There's way too many examples of players dropping balls that hit them right in the hands. So I've always been a proponent of pass interference, just like it is in college, should be a 15-yard penalty. Alas, the NFL does not, they don't take my advice under consideration, apparently, as that was called a pass interference. And on that play, I actually thought that it did look like Bashaud Breeland, like I couldn't really tell if he tripped, over Mike Evans' feet, if their feet got caught up, or, he just tripped over his own feet, as sometimes happens when you're trying to run fast with another player and trying to keep your eyes on them and then also pay attention to where the ball is. You might trip. But it did it looked like he did reach out as he was falling to try and grab Mike Evans to try to impede his progress. Now, you could say Mike Evans definitely embellished the ending there with a very soccer-like flop as he went to the ground. And although some people thought that, maybe that pass was uncatchable, generally, at least what it seems to me, is that refs generally don't call the ball to be uncatchable if it's within a few yards of the player. Now, if it's out of bounds, and it's clearly out of bounds, then they will usually call the ball as uncatchable, so they would pick up the flag or just not throw the flag at all, because the pass there would have been no way for the pass to have been caught in bounds. But on this one, it wasn't unreasonable to say maybe Mike Evans could have made a great diving catch to catch that pass. So for that penalty, I didn't think it was a bad call. The second penalty wasn't a bad call. It was just a really dumb play by Kansas City as McCall Hardeman lined up offsides on a field goal attempt. So Tampa Bay they'd been held to a field goal attempt on that play by Kansas City. They were able to get the stop. But McCall Hardeman, he was clearly offsides. There's no doubt about it. He definitely lined up offsides. That was a critical play. And since it was 4th and 5, the 5-yard penalty was enough to give Tampa the first down to extend the drive. Then the third penalty, notable importance in the first half, that was the pass interference call on Tyrann Mathieu defending Mike Evans in the end zone. Now on that one, I did think that play wasn't a penalty because it looked like the pass was uncatchable. There was contact by Mathieu on Evans on his route, but that one definitely looked like the pass was not catchable. It was thrown high, out of bounds. Didn't appear to be any way Evans would have caught it. So I was a little surprised on that one that they didn't end up picking up the flag and not calling. And just saying that there was no pass interference because the pass was uncatchable. But to Kansas City's misfortune, they called the penalty, and the Bucs were able to take advantage as they get another touchdown pass to Rob Gronkowski, his second touchdown of the day, and shockingly, probably, certainly to Kansas City fans and probably a lot of people watching, it was 21-6 at halftime. Not the way many people expected it, I'm guessing. As at that point, it was going to be very difficult for Kansas City to win the game. I think ESPN, they have like win probabilities that you can look up during the game. And at that particular point at halftime, the probability for the Bucs to win was 91.5%. And yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable. When you're up 15, your defensive line is kicking the other team's offensive line's butt. You're getting pressure on every play. Yeah, things weren't looking good for Tampa Bay at that point. Things weren't looking good for Kansas City at that point. Now there was a small bit of hope that Nance and Romo tried to sell you on during the second half. As Kansas City, they were able to get a field goal on their first drive, so it was 21-9, 12-point game. Within 2 scores, again, it's unlikely, but still there's a glimmer of hope that you could hold on to. But as much pressure as Tampa Bay was able to get on Mahomes in the first half, it felt like in the second half they were able to get more pressure on Mahomes, as at that point the Kansas City, they didn't really try to run the ball all that much. So Tampa Bay knew what was coming. Their defensive line, just as they say, pin their ears back, get to the quarterback. And they also did a lot better job of when they got pressure on Mahomes, they kept him contained in the pocket so that he wasn't able to get outside and scramble and pick up first downs. Now, he definitely had to scramble, but he was having to scramble just to be able to have enough room so he could throw an incomplete pass out of bounds. As they were able to, Mahomes just under pressure all day. In fact, I think, this was from Pro Football Focus. They had on 56 dropbacks by Mahomes, 27 of them, he got pressured. So that's 48%. So nearly half the times he dropped back, he was running in fear of the large, scary men trying to take his head off. Things kind of got worse for KC then. Although 21-9, okay, it's looking not so good, but maybe they can get back in it, but no. Next drive, Tampa Bay put it away thanks to Leonard Fournette, who again, turning back the clock to his days at LSU, showing off his moves and his speed on the 27-yard touchdown run. That was definitely a display of his speed, which I don't know. There's something about the way he runs. Like, he doesn't look like he's running particularly fast, or I don't know. There's just something about the way he runs. Maybe he's just, again, he has a real upright style, which he runs, and he definitely runs into contact. He's not afraid of that. But anyways, he had a very impressive run on that play. Good blocking, of course. Ali Marpet on that play was a guard. He pulled over to Fournette's side to lead the way for that touchdown run, definitely clearing out the cornerback. So props to the big man there. But anyways, yes, Leonard Fournette left for dead after Jacksonville cut him, providing very good returns for Tampa Bay, taking a chance on him. So that's nice. And also, according to Next Gen Stats, Fournette, he recorded the fastest speed by any Bucs player at that game, as he got up to 19.96 miles per hour, which I'm assuming was on that touchdown run. So showing off his speed once again. So Leonard Fournette showing that maybe Jacksonville gave up too soon on him, although he was unhappy in this situation, so maybe it was more of a mutual thing. But once again, proving that the Jaguars are terrible at drafting. If you just go back to their draft picks starting in 2013, there are so many misses. So in 2013, they drafted Luke Joeckel, the offensive tackle out of A&M. Yeah, he didn't even make it through his rookie contract. They did not pick up his fifth-year option. That's how disappointed they were with him, which pains me very much, as I am an A&M guy. But yeah, he didn't even make it through his first rookie contract. They didn't pick up his fifth year. He played, I think, one more year in the league, and yeah, he's out of the league. 2014, they drafted Blake Bortles, who did not turn out so well, although he was better than Blaine Gabbert. So they did pick a QB better than Blaine Gabbert, so I'll give him credit there. 2015, Dante Fowler, he is no longer with the team. They traded him away. 2016, Jalen Ramsey, no longer with the team. They traded him away. 2017, Leonard Fournette, who, as just mentioned, they cut him. And to be honest, it's a good reason why you probably shouldn't draft any running back that high. 2018, Taven Bryan, who? Although I did see that he had 2 run stuffs this year, so was it 2 or 3? I think it was 3, actually, yeah. He had 3 run stuffs this year, so very good for him. That's very good return. 2019, they got Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen, the defensive end, Josh Allen from Kentucky, who actually had a good rookie season, but this year he kind of had a down season. I think he got placed on injured reserve like the last half of the year, so not nearly as effective of a sophomore campaign, but at least his first year was okay, so maybe next year he turns out okay. And the 2020 draft, their 2 first-round picks, C.J. Henderson and Kayvon Chason, the cornerback from Florida and the LSU linebacker, respectively. Things did not go so well with them. I believe it was Pro Football Focus that in their rankings of the 2020 draft, they had the Jags as 31st, thanks in large part to the contributions, or lack thereof, from C.J. Henderson and Kayvon Chason. So yeah, there's my quick rant on the Jacksonville Jaguars being terrible at drafting, which does not bode well for Urban Meyer and presumably Trevor Lawrence. Anyways, back at the topic at hand. So after the Fournette touchdown, the score was 31-9, as the Bucs were able to score a field goal in between. And at that point, yeah, the game's over when it's 31-9. And we don't need to talk about how the rest of the game turned out after that point, as Patty Mahomes run for his life some more, threw some interceptions, trying to make a play. But they go down in defeat. Tom Brady, 43-year-old ageless man, he finished 21-29 for 201 yards and 3 touchdowns. And to be honest, I'm not sure how many passes he actually had to throw in the second half. It couldn't have been more than 5. He did most of his damage in the first half. They didn't need to do a whole lot of throwing the ball. They didn't ask him to do too much. Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, they combined for 150 yards on 28 attempts. Good day for both of them, especially Fournette. I don't know why I like Fournette, and I'm not even an LSU guy. I mean, I'm an A&M guy, so. Anyways, I don't know. Some players, you just get that next contract, which will probably be smaller than his rookie contract, which is pretty good since he was a top 5 pick. Mike Evans only had 1 reception for 31 yards, but he did draw some very important pass interferences, so you got to give him that. So I was happy to see that. Chris Godwin, held to just 2 catches for 9 yards, although on one incomplete to him, he did make an amazing catch. It was just out of bounds. He didn't get his feet in, but it was an amazing catch. Gronk, he was the receiver of the game with 6 receptions, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns, looking reinvigorated like the Gronk of old, not the Gronk from the 2018 season, where at times it looked like he was just struggling to run down the field. On the other hand, Patrick Mahomes, he was 26 of 49, 270 yards, threw 2 interceptions. Not his best game, no touchdowns. Travis Kelce, he had 10 receptions for 133 yards, and Tyreek Hill had 7 for 73. So, combined, if you were just look at those numbers out of context, you would say, oh yeah, the Kansas City receivers, they had a good game. I bet the offense did really well. They're putting up those numbers, 200 yards between them. No, that is why you cannot rely on the raw stats alone. Context always matters. There's a lot of Kelce's yards, and especially a lot of Hill's yards came in the second half when the game was already over, especially in the fourth quarter, where the Chiefs were able to move the ball, but they weren't able to score again. And now we come to what I would say were the players of the game, the true MVPs, as Tom Brady got another Super Bowl MVP. But if you ask me, I don't know, man. I think it was the Tampa Bay defense that was really the MVP of that game. As mentioned, they were in Mahomes' grill all game. They got 10 hits on him. They defended 9 passes. They got 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and like I said, they pressured Mahomes on almost half of his dropbacks. They did a really good job on Tyreek Hill throughout most of the entire game, not letting him get open, not like he did in that first game in the regular season where he had over 200 yards receiving just by himself. They were definitely made a concerted effort not to get beaten on the long plays. That's definitely another reason why Todd Bowles was hesitant to blitz in that game. He was more than content to drop guys back in coverage, and they were able to make plays, especially Levante David. I thought he did a really good job, especially on Travis Kelce. I mean, he did allow some completions, but a lot of those, they were well behind the line of scrimmage. He won his share of battles. He knocked some passes down. He played really good defense when he was asked to on Kelce, who's, one of, if not the best, pass-catching tight end in the NFL. So all those guys did an amazing job. It definitely helped to have Devin White back. And I'd definitely say that is one fast Tampa Bay linebacking core. Just an overall performance by the defense. Defensive line, the linebackers, and the secondary. They definitely all did their job and exceeded probably what some people thought they were going to be able to do against the Chiefs. I'd say overall that was probably one of the best defensive performances in a Super Bowl. I mean, you could go back to the Super Bowl in '86 that the Chicago Bears annihilating the New England Patriots with their defense, or you could go in 2001, the Ravens against the Giants, and you could go to in 2014, the Seahawks against Broncos, and that Peyton Manning-led offense that looked unstoppable, and from the first drive, the Legion of Boom definitely showed that Denver was not going to be able to do what they had done to all their other opponents that season. You can go back to that. You could go in 2016, Denver's defensive performance against Carolina and that great Carolina Panthers team led by Cam Newton, a much younger, much healthier Cam Newton, what they're able to do to that seemingly unstoppable team. And heck, even the 2018 season, but in 2019, the Rams versus the Patriots, 13-3, one of the highest scoring offenses. At that time, I guess they were in St. Louis still. What they were able to do against the Rams, Actually, maybe not. No, let me retract that. I think they were in L.A. I think they were L.A. Rams at that point. They just hadn't moved into their new stadium. I think maybe they were playing in the Rose Bowl. Anyways, what they were able to do against Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Cooper Kupp, all those guys, high flying Rams offense. That was a pretty impressive performance, but I don't know. Just taking into consideration who they were going up against, the fact that they were able to hold Kansas City, of all teams, Patrick Mahomes, to not even getting a touchdown is pretty impressive, I would say. We can just go over real quickly what the Tampa Bay defense, what they're able to hold Kansas City to. I mean, Kansas City was 3 of 13 on third down. They were 1 of 3 on fourth down. They had 350 net yards. For passing, they averaged 4.7 yards an attempt. Again, they had no touchdowns. They forced 2 turnovers, 3 punts. Hey, that's not bad. Red zone efficiency. So, in other words, were they able to score touchdown in the red zone? No. They were 0 of 3. So, yeah, I think probably just about any metric that you want to use, you're gonna see that Tampa Bay's defense was the most dominant unit on the field on Sunday. Although you would have to say, if Kansas City's offensive line had been just a little healthier, if they could have just have Eric Fisher, I'm pretty sure things would have turned out differently. I think they would have been able to score a touchdown, although with the way Tampa was playing, I don't think they would have been able to win. Tampa was just, their defense was definitely just too good that game. It would have been, I'm positive that it would have been closer. It would have been a 22-point game. But I still think Tampa would have pulled it out even had Kansas City had Eric Fisher back, making their offensive line quite a bit better. Definitely a significant improvement over Mike Rimmers. So I guess I don't know, is the dynasty about to get in Tampa Bay? Tom Brady signed a 2-year deal with Tampa Bay in the 2020 offseason, and I think he indicated something like he thinks it's reasonable he can continue when he's 45 or even older. So he definitely is the ageless wonder of the NFL. Probably cemented himself, if there was any doubt before, that he is the GOAT of the NFL. I guess you could say for this Super Bowl, like a lot of others are. Even though especially, let's just say in the last 20 years, as the NFL changed the rules to be able to enable more offense, more yards, more points, more scoring, all that sort of thing. It's just another Super Bowl that is where the script was written by the defensive performance of one team. So as much as we love watching the NFL because of all the offensive firepower that we get to see in the scoring, definitely in the playoffs, never underestimate the impact that a defensive performance can have on really changing a team's fortunes as they get into the playoffs. And with that, we'll see if the Tampa Bay, if they're able to come back. They got some free agents like Levante David, Rom Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin. He will definitely be a man in demand, although he only had 2 receptions, but don't base on whether he's good on one game. So they got some decisions to make on their roster. We'll see if they're able to come back, but considering the fact that they have Tom Brady, I'm sure they'll be okay. I would imagine they'll be the favorite in the NFC South to repeat, not as to repeat as division winner because they didn't win the division this time, but to get back in the playoffs, and this time I would imagine they would be the favorite to win the division as Drew Brees' retirement looks imminent. And I just got to say, man, I am really upset that I did not bet on Tampa Bay making it to the Super Bowl, much less winning it, because I did want to do that. They were going to be one of my dark horses. I was going to pick them, the Titans, and the Steelers about midway through the season, because For me, I figure it's a better deal to let the season play out a little, so you can just see which teams have been hit by the injury bug, other sorts of things. If they're just, for whatever reason, if they're not playing up to what people thought they were, if they're playing above expectations, it's good to get a stock of teams at mid-season and then go in on your Super Bowl picks, on your futures betting. But since I live in a state where online betting isn't legal per se, you have to jump through a bunch of hoops to set up an account, with one of the sports books like Bovada or something. And it's such a mess trying to do that I just gave up out of frustration because it was just taking so long, and you have to sign up for all these things and trying to get this account set up, this digital wallet set up, and then you buy cryptocurrency, and then you send it to this wallet, and then it's just a mess. So it beat me down, so I ended up not doing that. I wish I had given in to my inner Yumiko Jabari, got my gambling freak on, and bet on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because when I was going to do it, like, the odds, they were plus 750, I think, to get to the Super Bowl. So if I'd put down $100, I would have got $750. That would have more than made up for my losses betting the Titans in Pittsburgh. Yet another failed opportunity to cash in by me. Very unfortunate. Hopefully one day I'll learn. Or the state of Texas makes online gambling legal, which would be very nice. Hey, maybe I'll send an email to my state senator or my state representative and just tell them all the virtues that gambling have, and I can refer them to Kakagurui. They will no doubt agree all the positive beneficial effects that gambling has on one's development, especially high school youths. Anyways, back to my main point. We'll see if Tampa Bay can repeat as Super Bowl champions, and then for Kansas City, obviously, where do they go from here? Do they need to address their offensive line potentially in the offseason, or perhaps another weapon, even for Patty Mahomes, since they might lose Sammy Watkins to free agency this year? Where do they go? Can they get back? Was it just simply a matter of bad luck with injuries that prevented them from winning the Super Bowl this year, and they don't really need to make any drastic roster changes in order to get back there? Because I would guess Kansas City has the best chance of anyone. I haven't looked at the odds or anything or any predictions yet, but for getting back to the Super Bowl, I would imagine Kansas City definitely has the best odds in the AFC. So me personally, I think, probably they're going to take some kind of offensive lineman with their first or second pick. But other than that, I would say they're definitely set up to once again win that division, although it'll probably be a little tougher. I expect San Diego to be better. Raiders maybe about the same, and then God knows what's going to happen with Denver and their QB situation and all that. But I would definitely bet on Kansas City repeating as AFC champions, and if they're able to have their offensive line just a little more healthy than they were this game, I like their odds of getting back to the Super Bowl and winning it. And with that, we put a bow on another NFL season. Probably not this week, but next week I'd like to do an NFL awards segment, some entertaining anime-themed awards for the NFL season that was. So I'll get to working on that. Hopefully that'll be fun. I guess to end this, let's move on to the fluff of the Super Bowl, the filler, the hot springs episode or the beach episode, the musical performances and the commercials. For the commercials, I'll be honest, I don't pay a ton of attention to them. I'm getting up, getting something to eat or something like that. I'm definitely not locked in on the commercials. Some of the ones that I saw, the one with Vince Lombardi, I don't know, was it a hologram or was it someone? I don't know. I couldn't tell if it was, CG or if it was something. And I'm not even sure, was it a commercial or was it part of the Super Bowl presentation? I don't even know. It kind of looked like him, but I don't think it really sounded like him. So, thumbs down on that one. The Peyton and Eli commercial where they were throwing the football at each other, their behavior reminded me of Step Brothers, Will Ferrell and what's his name? John C. Reilly acting like children. Middle-aged men acting like children. That was kind of funny. The Rocket Mortgage commercials with Tracy Morgan, those were pretty funny too. So that's all I had to... those are the only commercials I really paid much attention to. Oh, wait, actually there's one more. The one with McConaughey where he was flat and then he got into the vending machine and... crap, I can't even remember. What did he get in the vending machine for? Was it like Pepsi or something, or was it like some kind of snack? Like I don't. See, there you go. The commercial failed because I don't even remember the product it was pushing. But that was kind of funny. Him getting stuck in the vending machine. So, professional McConaughey strikes again. For the musical performances, The Weeknd, he was fine. It was fine. As far as music goes, I'm a trance and metal guy. And never shall the twain meet between those two musical genres. I've heard bands that try to do it, and it just doesn't work. The musical structures of those two genres are very different. I love them. I love both of them, but I don't like them together at the same time. But I do have an appreciation for easily digestible dance pop, and The Weeknd certainly delivered that, so I was entertained. I missed the pre-Super Bowl performance by Miley Cyrus, and and the man that no one seemingly knew who it was because Miley Cyrus had to say, "Hi there, Billy Idol," or something like that, or "Hello there, Billy Idol," to let the crowd know that yes, this was the 80s, I guess, punk pop star. Because I don't know, I'm not sure if I would consider Billy Idol punk. I mean, his music is pretty, it's sort of pop oriented. It has, I suppose, a little bit of the punk attitude, but not sure so much about the music. But anyways, Billy Idol was there and singing with Miley Cyrus. And I will say I am a big fan of all things Miley Cyrus. I definitely do have a thing for her, although I'm not a fan of her mullet or her appearance on that terrible episode in the 5th season of Black Mirror. That was by far the worst episode of Black Mirror, which, if I'm being honest, the show's been going downhill kind of since the 3rd season. I feel like the quality of the show and the production values of the show are definitely inversely related. As they get to bigger production values, the quality has definitely slipped some, and that episode was terrible. But I would say it's not necessarily her fault because she wasn't given much to work with. That was some terrible writing, terrible story that they gave her. So I was very disappointed for her to be in that. But I was able to watch the performance of her and afterwards, I think on YouTube or something. I was very pleased to see her strutting her thing, but yes, it was very, very sad to see that no one knew who Billy Idol was. But he seemed to, he wasn't flustered or anything at all. Maybe he even expected it, so I'll give him that. He kept his cool under fire, and they were able to get that done. So props to Miley and Billy Idol and those guys doing the pre-Super Bowl musical performance. And I didn't listen to the national anthem getting sung. I don't even know who did it. Or actually, I saw something, but it was some singer and some dude playing guitar. Didn't know who they were, so won't comment on them. But overall, for the Super Bowl entertainment, the non-football entertainment, it was fine. So it was fine. I read a couple things. I don't know. I guess people weren't all that impressed with The Weeknd, whatever. If you look back in Super Bowl history, there have been some pretty boring, been some pretty odd performances. I was definitely old enough to see the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction that short-circuited everyone back in the day, so this was nowhere near that level of controversy. It was fine. So I'd say people don't get too bent out of shape over the freaking halftime performance of the Super Bowl. That's just filler. We're here for the football game, and although the football game was not close, I did find it very entertaining. And with that, we have reached the end of the episode. Thank you for listening. As you always can, if you got anything to say, leave a comment. Subscribe to us. You can follow us. You can listen to this podcast on our YouTube channel. Just look us on up as the 28house. Either way, you're probably gonna find us if you see our blue and orange smash ball looking logo. That's us. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter at _twoeighthouse. You can find us on Facebook. On our Facebook, like our handle or whatever, it's like at the real 28house. But if you just look up 28house, see our blue and orange smash ball logo again, you'll definitely know that it's us. So you can find us there. You can email us, Gmail 28house@gmail.com. Now the 2 and the 8 are spelled out, so it's the words. So 28house@gmail.com. Let's see what else we're on. We're on Twitch, but hardly ever on there. The _28_house. We are on Instagram at the 28house. So you can listen to us there. You can also listen to this podcast. So you can do it on YouTube or on the Podbean app or on the website at Podbean, which I believe is www.aimforthetopsportsreviewpodcast.podbean.com. So yeah, leave us a comment. Got any ideas for segments, topics, anime-related stuff, suggestion for another sports show that I need to watch, because I'm going to watch iShield 21, about the first 13 episodes, and give y'all a review at the end of this month. So that'll be fun. So yeah, thanks for listening. It was quite the NFL season, and to be honest, the NFL season is never over, because now we have the off season to look forward to, all the pre-draft stuff, the team workouts, all that stuff, free agency. It is never an off season in the NFL. Should be back later this week for another episode, just reviewing other sports stories, non-football stories from the past week or so. So thanks again for listening. Hope to see you next episode. And as always, I will let my boy Rick Perry send you off.
Adios, mofo.